somebody who never thought, was scared to be themselves, saw that and was like, if he can do it, I can do it. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this follower shit, fuck the like shit, fuck the money, fuck that. That's what's important. That's what's gonna change the world. You know what I mean? Those little kids that now saw me, now believe in themselves, that's what's gonna change the world. That's my purpose. So I would say, like, look at yourself and be like, what is my purpose? How do I change the world? How do I have that impact?
Yeah, so definitely got to get the greens in your system, especially when you're on the go, because you had like a wild 6 months.
Yeah, like 180. My life just like completely changed.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't we just start right there?
Yeah.
Dom, Gabriel, welcome to the Gents Talk Pod.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I'm honored. This is an insane setup. I actually took Air Canada coming back, so I watched a few episodes.
Oh, nice.
So
okay.
Yeah, I'm super great. It's just a dope feeling to be like those full circle moments of being like, oh, I took Air Canada, I'm Canadian. I watched Karl Wolf like in the same do on the same platform. And it's like, damn, now I get to do it. You know, like,
yeah, man.
Used to watch Karl Wolf on Much Music way back in the day, the top tens and the Bacardi slang, and now I'm here. It's dope. Thank you.
That's dope. No, we're super excited to have you. You've had an incredible, like I said, 6 months. It's been wild for you. And it seems like you're constantly doing something. But one of the things that I've admired, and I'm super excited to talk to you about this, is how you've managed to still stay authentic to yourself despite the hype around you growing exponentially. You know, from partnerships and media and all of these different things. Whenever I hear you speak, you're still very much, this is who I am at my core, and I'm not changing that for anyone. Talk to me about the last 6 months.
Damn. I think I don't even know where to start. I mean, it all started, I knew the show was coming out on Valentine's Day, and I'd already been on a show, The Mole, and it didn't really pop off. It wasn't like I didn't become like this like big person, or I wasn't getting stopped on the streets or whatever like that. But I didn't even want to go to LA, but one of my friends, Ines, from the show was like, no, you got to take advantage of this opportunity. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, I'll go for like a month. You know, I packed like one suitcase. I packed like 8 hours before I left. Didn't even pack like enough pants or enough shirts. So I just like stuffed a bunch of shit in a suitcase. I was like, whatever, I'll be back in a few weeks. Like, it's fine. And then the show came out, and I don't know, like, people just took to it. People really took to me and how I was on the show. And yeah, then it was like 1 month turned to 2 months. Then it turned into Guardians of the Galaxy red carpets, and you know, then I'm meeting, you know, Issa Rae, and it's just like this snowball effect kind of just kept on like rolling, and this is all happening. Meantime, like, I was only planning to stay for like a month.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm on an air mattress
with no more pants.
Yeah, I'm wearing the same stuff that I was wearing the same boots to every red carpet, to the point where like Doc Martens was like, "Yo, we're gonna send you some new boots, man, because this is getting out of hand." So it's like I was doing all these things, but I think the thing that kept me, I mean, I'd like to believe, like, you know, my mother raised me well, and my grandparents, in knowing that integrity will always be rewarded, and to always hold my integrity true. But of course, when you're in LA, people tell you like it changes you a little bit. But you know, I was really doing all these things while sleeping on an air mattress, so it was like wasn't really any room for me to talk my shit, or you know, it kind of kept me humble, and kind of kept me working and kept me grinding to be like, I want to get off this air mattress as fast as possible. So yeah, it was just a wild. It's hard to explain because it happened so fast.
Sure. And now you're based in LA.
Yeah, that's the plan. I kind of realized when I was out there that I think it's like familiar to like when you see, like, I'm not comparing myself to someone like Drake, where it's kind of like you kind of have to be there in order to take full advantage of certain opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, because
you got to be in the place where everyone else is.
Where everyone else is.
Yeah.
Like, there were times when like I was like at my lowest. I remember it was like going from Airbnb to Airbnb at one point, and I was in this like shed in someone's backyard that I paid like $900 for like 4 days.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I gotta make something happen. Like I was like going live on TikTok or whatever, and then all of a sudden I got the hey from my management, hey, tomorrow you want to go to the Guardians of the Galaxy red carpet? I'm like, well, yeah, shit, okay, good thing I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
I got 24 hours, and it was like, went to a PR room, got this like green suit, whatever, and then like, then I'm meeting Vin Diesel and
Crazy.
and you know Kevin Feige in this room, and it's like, then that led to me getting invited to the Spider-Man, and then I'm getting invited to like the Sony launch party, and I'm meeting David Callahan, watch Perfect Match, and he wrote the movie, and he's talking about the movie and how Miles is my little brother's name and how much like it means to me. And it's like, if I wasn't in LA, those opportunities wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So I kind of realized like, okay, I kind of have to just tough it out and just be out here.
Yeah. One of the things that I think one of the reasons that I've heard people resonate with you so much was because you were very genuine on the show, after the show. You know, they really saw an authentic human being, which is something that you don't typically get to see on reality shows, right? Like you hear a lot of people say, yeah, you know, I kind of put on a persona because, you know, I treated that as an opportunity. You just showed up as Dom. Were you ever, like, did you ever find yourself worn thin from just being in that kind of an environment?
Yeah, I think even people watching it could see that. Like, there are people that, you know, would make full-on psychological breakdowns on me on TikTok, and you can kind of see, because I do have, like, neurodivergent tendencies. Like, I do have ADHD, and I do have, like, really bad social anxiety, and my social battery, like, wears down really fast. So you could see at times where, like, people be like, oh, Dom's boring, or Dom's quiet. So, like, I'd just be off on the side just fiddling, or just trying to figure stuff out. So there were times where I was definitely, like, and I think that's part of, like, my strengths and my weaknesses is, like, I can't not be that. Like, I can't not be myself, because, like, it's almost like my brain and my body just doesn't allow it.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're not fighting instinct, essentially.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, like, that's just who I am. Like, ever since I was a kid, it was like I used to get bullied for, you know, painting my nails or dressing a certain way or the way I think, and it was like I can either lean into it or I can go a different path. And I was like, well, I'm already getting bullied for it, I might as well just be who I am. And I just kind of, like, I've always been like that. So it's like, even if you put 1,000 cameras on me, it's like I'm just so adjusted to just, like, whatever, I don't really give a shit. Like,
so you've got all this stuff happening. How are you managing going from, you know, the air mattress to suddenly living under a microscope? You know, like, I typed your name in on Google. I love doing that with people. Just type their name in and just see what randomness pops up.
yeah.
And it was like 10 fun things you would never have known about Dom Gabriel and stuff like that. Like, you're really under a microscope now.
Yeah.
And when you say you have, you know, social anxiety, that's a very real thing, that, you know, that battery life, once it's drained, you want nothing to do with that. How are you balancing the two?
I think when everything first started, I became such a recluse. Like, I didn't do any podcasts. I refused to go on any podcasts. I refused to go to any events just because of that reason. If I said a word, if I mentioned a name, it was going to end up on Twitter or on some article, or some reality TV person was going to make a TikTok. Like, I commented on Selena Gomez's TikTok once, and reporter was like, you'll never guess who I found in Selena Gomez's comments. Dom from Perfect Match is sliding on Selena. And it's like what? Like,
how'd you find this?
Yeah, how'd you find
this?
Yeah, and who the hell cares if I make a funny comment on Selena? Like, I'm never gonna bag Selena Gomez. Like, come on. Like, I cried on TV. Like, that's all I'm known for at this point.
Yeah.
But
Does that bother you?
it doesn't bother. I just think it's like it's just funny.
Yeah.
You know, and I've gotten to the point where it's like you could just laugh at it. Like, I don't take myself too seriously. Even when the show was out, it was like all the content I made was laughing at myself, and, you know, me crying and me being over emotional, and because that's just who I am. I just own it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like again, Drake. Like, Drake doesn't take himself too seriously. You know, Drake will meme himself. It's like I just meme myself.
Do you think you're being over emotional, or do you think that people think you're being over emotional?
I think there's two sides of it, right? There's the side of, like, me, I am a very vulnerable person, and I do realize I can be very overly emotional when it comes to certain things. So I think it's like a balance of, like, you should never be afraid to show your emotions. You should never be afraid to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable can be a strength. It can be your superpower. But I can also look at myself in that instance and be like, there were points where I could have, there are points where it's okay to put your guard up. You know, it's like finding that balance of like, yeah, it's okay to be vulnerable, but it's like I don't have to like walk into an elevator and be like, someone's like, hey, how's your day going? Horrible, man. Like, you know,
control, like a little bit of control over it.
Yeah, a little bit of control over my emotions where like, and I'm grateful that I was able to like watch myself with the entire world and, you know, people's perceptions and take everything with a grain of salt. But it allowed me to kind of like see myself through that microscope as well and be like, yeah, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be emotional, but there are certain things that I can work on personally to control that better.
And I love that you say that, though, because I think one of the main themes of what we're trying to really do with this podcast is help the mass number of men out there realize that being vulnerable or showing emotions doesn't mean you're going around to every single person at all times of the day saying, here's all the things wrong with my life.
Yeah.
Like, you can have your moments of vulnerability. You have your moments where you express that, you know what, you're not feeling your most confident self.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay that happens. And it's also okay at times to be like, you know what, I'm going to gather myself because I'm going to do X right now. And I'm trying to maintain some form of control. There's also nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I like how you articulated that, because I think a lot of people, it's either one extreme or the other.
Yeah. And I think you have to balance that line, because there were times where I could be vulnerable, but then it turns into like, okay, at what point are you going to do something about it though?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was a conversation where I had with my good friend that I met in LA, Leo Skeppy, where there was a point where I was like posting something on Instagram and I was like writing the caption and I was about to say like, you know, I'm undeserving of this and I'm unworthy and, you know, and trying to be vulnerable. And he was like, you know what, I'm gonna be honest with you, like it's getting kind of old, you know, like own your, like do something about it. If you don't feel worthy, if you don't feel deserving, do something about it, you know?
So what'd you do?
I owned it. You know, I looked at everything I accomplished and I said, you know what, like I'm in LA in 6 months and I'm going to a red carpet. Like I'm waiting the red carpet behind Russell Westbrook and Wiz Khalifa, whose poster I had in my college dorm room. And 6 to 8 months ago, no one believed in me. And I'm here right now. I can talk my shit a little bit. I can say, yeah, I did that shit. And I can still be vulnerable, but I can still say I was vulnerable. I did this. I owned it. I cried on TV. I turned that into a goddamn like clothing collection that sold out. You know, I painted my nails. People said, oh, that's feminine. That's this, that's that, that's this. And then what did I do? I created my own nail polish line with MGK, my own nail polish color. You know, I did that. So it was like taking my vulnerability and turning it into a strength at the same time. It's like, I can be vulnerable, but also watch this.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's finding that balance of being a man and letting yourself be vulnerable, but also knowing when to step up.
Yeah.
You can do both.
And why do you think guys struggle with that balance from your lens?
I think a lot of people are scared of being judged. You know, nobody wants to, because when you're vulnerable, when something means a lot to you, it's like, I'm sure, for example, like with this podcast, or anything that's creative, it's your passion, and sometimes it might be hard to like share parts of it. You know, it might be hard to promote yourself with it. You know, because it means so much to you. So that's the vulnerable part. That's the vulnerability. This podcast means so much to you, so it becomes hard at points to be like, share this or tell people, hey, listen to this, because you don't want to hear someone be like, oh, this podcast sucks, because that would hurt you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you stop yourself from.
We're not immune to that.
Yeah. So you stop yourself from that. You stop yourself from being like, hey, this podcast means a lot to me, and I'd really appreciate it, because you don't want to hear that backlash, because it means so much to you. And I think that's with a lot of men that grew up. It's like you don't want to try new things, or you don't want to put yourself out there, because that makes you vulnerable. And like when people reject that thought, you're like, oh, you feel less than. You know what I mean? And I think that's what it is. It's like when you show your emotions, you're afraid of someone being like, oh, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
You know? And then you're like, no shit, like You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did I just go against the grain here?
Yeah.
Like, am I out of line?
Am I out of line? But then it's like, okay, I cried, and someone's like, you're a crybaby. Okay, now what? Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Where do you go from here in this conversation?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go back and take that back? Do you want me to reverse the tears that came out of my eyes?
Yeah.
Like, why do you care so much that I cried?
Mm.
And then it turns into a conversation of like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I've had so many guys come up to me and like we have that conversation, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, nah, I respect that, you know, because you own it.
How powerful are those moments?
Those, I think, to me, the most powerful moments are the guys that come up to me and they like, they tell me like, oh, I don't know, what am I allowed to say on this podcast?
Anything you want.
Anything? The craziest moment to me was like, I was like going to this barbershop in LA, and it was like I was getting my hair locked, and there was this guy. He just like walked up to me. He's like, "Yo, I watched your show with my girl the other day. Like, I just gotta say, you a real ass nigga."
Mm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he was like big, tatted up, like and like admittedly, like, you know what I mean, just like one of those guys that, like, you just wouldn't expect to like see something like that and like resonate. And I think a lot of people did resonate with that, but it's like they don't want to say out loud that they did.
Mm.
You know, so when I hear someone like be like, yo, I resonate, I felt how you felt, and that's how I feel sometimes too. Those are the moments where it's like, oh, this changed this person's perspective on things. You know, or getting like a message or someone being like, hey, I started painting, I always want to paint my nails, but I saw you paint your nails, so I bought your nail polish and check this out. You know, it's like moments like that make me realize like, oh, there's a difference between being an influencer and making an impact.
A real impact.
A real impact, you know, and those are the moments to me that keeps me kind of going, because I could care less about like it's cool to go to the red carpets, it's cool to meet these people and go to these events and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, I have this constant inner dialogue of like, what's the difference between fame or clout and like legacy?
What is it?
And to me, it's like when you're gone, right? How does your name still exist in the world? How does your presence still exist in the world? And for me, I think about that, and it's like the way that happens is like by these kids that come up to me and they're like, hey, I dress this way because of you. Hey, look at my nails, I paint my nails because of you. They're going to grow up, push these boundaries, these gender norms, push these societal norms, and people are going to look at them and be like, yo, who inspired you? Like, why do you dress like this? Why do you act this way? Why do you not care what people think? And and some of them are going to go, because of Dom. You know what I mean? They're going to grow up and I'm going to be gone, and they're going to be because of Dom. And they're going to tell their kids like, yeah, like, look at the pictures of this guy. You know what I mean? And that's, to me, that's what legacy is. Like, that's like now I'm getting all philosophical or whatever. But like, to me, it's like there's a difference between happiness and finding your purpose. And I believe finding your purpose in this world, everyone's given a gift of some sort, and it's finding out what that gift is, sharing it with the world to make the world a better place. I believe like that's the key to life. That's the key to like happiness, is finding your purpose, finding that gift that you have, sharing it with others to make it a better place. And I feel like I've found that, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Do you feel like this was something that was always on the horizon for you, or did you stumble into all of this?
I think it was a mix of both. I think there was a point where I had gotten broken up with like a few months prior to getting on the mole, and it was kind of like, admittedly, it was like this petty feeling of like, you know what, like I dimmed my light for a lot of people to let a lot of other people shine. And when I got broken up with, it was like a sort of like, you were holding me back, Dom, you know, and I was like, okay, I was holding you back. Like,
the person said to you that you were holding them back.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and a lot of people kind of doubted me, and I was like, all right, fuck you all, like, watch this. And I remember like I quit my job, and I was like in Hamilton with my best friend looking over the mountain, and I said, this time next year, everyone's going to know who I am. I don't know how, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know what it is that's going to happen. And then I started like doing shoots, modeling, started trying doing vlogs, nothing was catching. And then I got this call, and it was like, hey, do you want to be on the mole? And I was like, yeah, try it out. Then the mole happened, finished that, and they were like, hey, Netflix was like, hey, we love you, do you want to be on this all-star dating show? And it was like, okay, when do we film? In like 4 months. And I'm like, okay, fly out again, do the show. And then it's like, then I started doing TikToks, and then before the shows even come out, they're going viral, blowing up. By the time the show comes out, I have like 800,000 followers already. So it just kept on piling and piling. And I believe it's because like I truly believed in myself. You know, I reached a point where I did stumble into it, but there was a point before I stumbled into it where I said, I believe in myself more than I ever have, and I'm not going to stop until something happens.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what. It wasn't like I had a game plan. It was like, I'm just going to do everything, and something is going to catch.
Yeah.
And eventually something did.
I saw an Instagram post of yours where you talked about how, I don't know if this was the same situation, but when you get broken up with, generally it means that person has been thinking about this for some time.
Yeah.
And that hit me deep, because it made me really think about all the times past relationships haven't worked, and started making me wonder, how long did that person think about it before the action happened?
Mm-hmm.
Why was that so important for you to say that to everybody, to put it out there?
I think that's like another part of me where like that's always been a thing of me on social media, where like I just start talking and I just start saying things, and that was just one of those like what do you call it, stream of consciousness thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, where I just started talking, and you know, you just do these self-reflections. You know, a lot of times like, I don't know if you're ever in your room and you're just talking to yourself sometimes, and you just keep on talking, and you make these like self-realization moments of like, oh, that's why that happened.
Yeah.
And that was like one of those moments where, you know, I realized after that breakup, I was like, it wasn't like you just woke up this morning and you were like, oh, like this is done.
Yeah.
It's like you've had thoughts of this prior, and that's the part that after that breakup, I thought about that part of it, and I was like, that sucks.
Yeah, because you've been thinking about it for a while.
Probably months.
Yeah, you know, and you've been planning. You probably told your girlfriends, and
Yeah.
people be like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to tell them. And then there were certain points where like, maybe it can work, maybe it can't, but you never communicated that with me. So it's like, I'm just been in the dark.
Did you ever have a fighting chance at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I think and it's like when you say things like that out loud, I've realized it's like, you know, when you're silent, you deny others the benefit of knowing they're not alone. So that's whenever I have a chance to like speak on something, I'm just going to say it, because chances are at least 1-2 people are going to feel the exact same way, and they're going to be like, damn, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Damn, you really expressed that in a way I could never express that. Thank you for putting words in my mouth, you know, to explain how I feel. So I think that's why I felt that was important to just convey that.
Your Dom Meets the World.
Yeah.
That's a podcast that you've started.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to accomplish with that?
My main goal was to provide a safe place for people of any gender, sexuality, any background, a place where they can come and just freely talk about what they do, their life, and their dating life. I feel like, especially coming off of a dating show, a reason why I didn't do podcasts for a while is because I was scared. You know, I didn't want to be kind of like not interviewed, but like, what's it called when you go into like the police place and they like
interrogated.
Yeah, it was like, I don't want anyone to feel interrogated. I don't want to feel anyone to. So I wanted to create a place where people can come on there and just like freely, whether you're straight, gay, trans, a drag queen, a musician, a reality star, an influencer, to come on there and kind of give you a safe place to talk about how your views on dating or how you date or your life. And I think that's an important thing. I think everyone's trying to get these clickbait moments, and nobody wants to have
a real conversation,
a real genuine conversation, which is why I wanted to come on here, because watching your podcast is like, you just want to have a going You're not looking for the clickbait moments. I feel like there's so much of those now where it's like, we just wanted, like, you'll go on a podcast and be like, all right,
I'm gonna ask you this.
How many bodies you have? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and it's like, whoa, like what? Like, I thought,
like, you haven't even asked how I am yet.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so much more to me than that. So it's like, I just wanted to give people that platform and to feel comfortable and safe.
Well, it's such a powerful thing, because I think when people resonate with you and then they hear that's your story, and then they hear you having that conversation with other people, I think that's ultimately how you spread knowledge, awareness. You educate people in very subtle ways of like, you can have these conversations. It's okay to have these conversations. It's okay to say, hey, I don't know something, let me go learn about it, type of thing.
Yeah, and I think the other cool thing about it too is I think, and I was talking about this to someone recently, I think the way people view me, a lot of people see themselves in me, that I've realized. And I'm a firm believer is like, okay, if you watch me, if you're a follower of me, then like you're someone, like you believe in yourself, you know what I mean? And you can use me as that kind of like avatar, as a sense. So like the Dom Meets World is like, I'm bringing people on because like you're not only am I sharing my thoughts, but you also there's been episodes where like I've like come to tears talking to people, and I'm learning things about myself that I didn't even know through talking to these people. You know, like I had Leo Skepi on, and I told him like I don't feel worthy, and he told me like, look back and think about how your mom sacrificed for you, and she felt that you were worthy enough to sacrifice for all those people in your life. And it's like that changed my perspective on fucking everything.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and people witnessed that, and they were like, that was so powerful. And it's like, so it's like you're not only watching my podcast to like see me or hear my thoughts, but you're also learning things
As you learn them.
as I learned them, you know, which I think is really cool.
What makes that really cool, to your point, is it's a journey. It's like they're coming along for the ride with you.
Yeah.
And they really get to learn and grow with you.
And that's why I call it Dom Meets World, because it's like that show Boy Meets World.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Where it's like I felt like I grew up with Corey Matthews.
Yeah.
And every show, it's like they had goofy, silly moments, but there was always this like moment when he was talking to Mr. Feeney, and we're all watching, and we're all like, damn, like.
Who's your Mr. Feeney?
It's probably a mixture between like my mom and my grandfather.
Okay.
Like my grandfather's always somebody who, he doesn't talk a lot, but when he does speak, like he's gonna make sure you feel it. Like,
yeah. Powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my first breakup, I was just torn, and he just looked at me. He was like, this is why she broke up with you. You know, you're not ambitious enough. What chances did you take? And it was like, all right, Grandpa, that was a little, that kind of hurt a little bit.
But you weren't incorrect.
But I needed
I get it, but.
Yeah, but I needed to hear that, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, there's been times when something bad would happen to me, and he would tell me like, okay, but now what? It happened. What are you going to do? Just sit around and think about how shitty that was? Like, move on.
Yeah.
Kind of like, and that's why I got this Rafiki tattoo, because he's my Rafiki, where Rafiki hits Simba over the head, and it's like, what'd you do that for? He's like, what does it matter? It's in the past. And that's exactly like my grandpa, you know, and he's always been that for me. And he doesn't talk a lot. He's never been like, I love you. He's never like given me a hug. His way of showing love is like, I made you a sandwich, you know. He's that type of person. So he's always been that.
It's that older generation.
Yeah, he's always been that kind of Mr. Feeney for me.
They care, but they're not accustomed to expressing it the way we currently want to receive it.
Yeah, and that's something I'm trying to, you know, instill into him, you know, before leaving the house. Like, come give me a hug. Like, let's go watch a movie. He's like, I'm not watching a movie. You know, it's like, I'm gonna get you one day.
How receptive was he to like the nail polish and the crop tops? Because it feels like the older generation assumed it'd be a little bit more like standoffish with it.
He definitely was. He was definitely like, you know, what is this? What are you doing? Even with like, you know, my hair, and I dyed my hair when I was younger, and he was always kind of like, you know, like, what is this boy doing? But I think there was always something in him that he knew with me, and he said this. He was like, I don't know. I used to get in trouble. He's like, you used to get in trouble. And he said to someone else, he was like, but he always accomplishes what he wants to accomplish. It's like, I don't understand him sometimes, but there's
a motive there.
There's something there,
yeah.
You know. And I think he was one of those people who like, we just connect on a different wavelength. He doesn't understand me a lot, but he knows like we're kind of the same person. We're like, if I have a goal in mind, I'm not gonna stop until I accomplish that goal. And I think he sees that, and he sees the way I am and how I act. He's like, this is a little unorthodox. I'm not used to this, but I know you're gonna accomplish something. So it's like when the show comes out and I come home and I'm like, I own this. I have this business now. I have this nail polish. I have a podcast. I'm going on this TV show. He's like, and I sent him pictures of me on a red carpet. He's like, okay, Like, he's like, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna happen eventually. He's like, there it
Yeah.
is.
And what about your mom? You say that she's sort of that pillar of strength
Yeah,
behind you.
my mom has always been like the one person that's always believed in me. When everyone was like, there's no shot this is gonna work, my mom was always like it's gonna work. You know, she's just always been like, she's not surprised by anything really. You know, like when everything was blowing up, she was like, just take me to the BET Awards. Like she was always like, just take me. I just want to go one time. That's like, she's like, I knew this was gonna happen. Make me your plus one. So she's just always been that person that's believed in me. She's always been that anchor.
Yeah.
And if I never had that, I don't know if I would have had the strength to take the risk that I did. If she wasn't that person to be like, hey mom, I'm thinking about quitting my job to take a chance to go on this Netflix show that, I could have been eliminated the first episode. No one could have knew me, and I'd come back with no job.
Sure.
And she was like, and she said to me, and my best friend too said, people just have to see your face for 15 minutes. You just need 15 minutes. Go on there, you need 15 minutes. And I remember thinking to myself when I landed, I was like, mom said 15 minutes. I just need 15 minutes. So I was like, once I got past the first elimination, I was like, all right, I just need like 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
We lit, baby.
Yeah.
And she was right. And, I look at where I'm at now, and if my mom didn't say, you just need 15 minutes and the world's going to fall in love with you, and it was like, yeah.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned from her?
Oh, man, the biggest one? I think she's this, like, the main theme throughout all this has just been, like, it's okay to, like, be unapologetically yourself. My mom is, like, just so stubborn. Like, if my mom thinks a certain way, or my mom, like, she'll always be that person to stand up for what she believes in. She's always been that person. I used to call her like Michelle X, like Malcolm X. Like, she's always she's not gonna shy away. Like, when the BLM movement was happening, like, she's not like she has a platform or social media, but she was like the first person to go to she's gonna go to every riot, every protest. She's gonna stand up for what she believes in. If she grew up, she started working in a women's shelter when I was a kid. Like, I've seen her, like, damn near come to swinging with bows with crackheads, you know what I mean, to protect these women. Like, and I think that's what she instilled in me, is just this drive and, like, this stubbornness, this hard-headedness that we both share of, like, you see an injustice, I'm going to do something about it. Or, it's more than you, is what I would say. Like, after going on that little tangent rant, it's definitely been like, it's more than you, So when I did the clothing line, it was like, I could take 50% of this and then make a bag. And I think back to my mom, and I'm like, this is about more than you. When people saw you on TV, it's more than you. It's more than just Dom. It's that they saw a piece of themselves. They saw someone be vulnerable. They saw a mirror image of themselves. And I said, okay, yeah, Mom, you're right. And it was like, I'm going to give 10% of my proceeds to women's shelters around Canada. And it was like, I'm also going to give 5% to mental health research. You know what I mean? I'm also going to help my mom, give her this, give her that. And by the end of it, I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, I didn't make shit. Like, I didn't really
But it's
make
more
it.
than you.
Yeah.
But it's more than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that was the important thing that my mom instilled in me. It's like, everything I do, I'm like, I have to remember, like, it's bigger than me. It's more than me.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that from my mom.
And you're not obligated to answer if you're not comfortable with this, but I'm curious about your dad. I don't know the story there. I don't know if there is a story, but you've talked about your mom. You talked about your grandfather.
Yeah.
I'm always curious when guys don't talk about their dads as to why that is.
Yeah. That's like, it's funny you say that, because I actually saw a comment, like, recently. I posted this video and I was wearing, like, lipstick and whatever, and someone was like, he definitely doesn't have a dad, or he definitely didn't have a man in his life. And my dad left when I was 2, and came back when I was 10 years old. And when you're 10 years old, like, you're so stoked to, like, your dad's like your idol. He's like your hero. And I remember he came back, and I was like so happy he was back. And there was a day where it was like the best day of my life, followed by the worst time of my life. The best day of my life, my mom was dropping me off at my dad's place, and I was like, Mom, come up. Like, you got to come up and hang out with me and Dad. Like, it's so much fun. You got to come. And eventually she caved and she's like, all right, fine, I'll come up. And I remember we were watching the first Resident Evil movie, and my mom hates scary movies. Like, she jumps so easily. And I was sitting in the middle. My mom's on this side, my dad's on this side of the couch. I'm like on the ground. And I remember like the zombie dogs came out, whatever. My mom jumps and me and my dad are laughing. I'm thinking like, I have a family, you know, like my dad's here. Everything's good. I'm safe. I'm protected. And then the next day I'm telling all my friends like, oh, my dad's gonna come pick me up. He rides a motorbike. He's so sick. And all my friends are waiting with me. And it's like 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And it's just me and my best friend, Hanson. That's still my best friend to this day. He's waiting with me. And we both know he's not showing up. But neither of us are saying that. My best man, he's just waiting there with me. And then my grandma comes to pick me up, you know, and she tells me to get in the car, and I can see she's visibly upset. I go home. My mom's like upset. She's crying. And then my dad came back to apologize, and like this like switch just flipped in me. And I was like, I'm 10 years old, and I'm like, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see you. I don't care if you apologize. I'm going to take care of mom. Like I don't need you. And I never saw him again. And I was like, it built this chip on my shoulder of like, you can either kind of like continue the cycle when you don't have a dad, kind of, or like I took this route of like this extreme of like, I never want to be like this man. If I tell someone I'm going to be there, if I tell someone I love them, I'm going to fucking be there. And it created like this effect of like, I started like working at a warehouse when I was 14, and I would like try to give my mom money all the time for my little brother, and she wouldn't accept it, and I would like put it under her pillow, or I would do this, or you know, like my little brother birthday party, my mom would tell me when she spent, I'd be like, here, take this, like anything I could do to like fill those shoes, to fill that role. And I think a lot of people, when they see me and they make those comments, or they don't understand like the shoes that I attempted to fill at such a young age, that kind of just like drove me to this point. It was like I was working like 3 jobs. I was working like 2-3 jobs when I was like 17, 18 years old, just to take care of the people around me, whether it be my friends, my little cousins, my little brother, whatever I could. And I still have that mentality in me now. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened with my dad. I haven't seen him since. And
would you ever try to reconcile?
I've tried. I mean, I grew up and I've realized, like, you know, he was young. You know, my mom and my dad had me when they were like 17, 18 years old, and I realized like he was scared. He was young, and I mean, like he was younger than me, and you have your kids saying,
yeah, it's crazy to think about it now. It's just like, I think about my dad too, and it's like, man, he must have been about 21 or 22 with like 3 kids, and it's just like, so you kind of justify the leak. I'm like, okay, well, like you think if I was at 17, 20, 21, I wouldn't be able to, right? So you understand the being scared a bit.
Yeah, I definitely, like you said, like he was 18, 19, you know, and he was scared, and I can recognize that. I can recognize it wasn't malicious. I can recognize it wasn't just like hatred. Like, he didn't hate me. Yeah. He was just scared. He was just scared. But on the flip side of that, my mom wasn't. My mom took on everything. My mom was the person who was like, if you're not going to be here, she didn't ask for child support. She was like, if you're not going to be here, I don't want your money. Like, I'm going to take care of that. So it's like, I saw that side of my mom, that strength, and the weakness of my dad. And I remember when I was like, I can't remember how old I was. I tried reaching out to him, and I didn't hear anything from him. And then I gave him my number, and he called me like super late. It was like 11 o'clock, and he was like drunk at a bar. And he was like, come meet me. And I was like, nah, you know, like, that's not how I'm going to meet my dad. It's like, because you had to go to a bar and get drunk to build the confidence to see me again, you know. But that's something he has to figure out, you know. That it's like, you know, there's a reason why, you know, me at 10 years old looked you in the eyes and said, I don't want to see you anymore. And I think he just hasn't figured that out yet, you know. And I hope one day he does. I hope one day we can reconcile before, you know, everything is said and done. But that's on him at this point, that I look at, you know. It's not on me. I tried that, and I'm okay with the fact of where I'm at now. My mom has done more than enough. She's played both roles. I'm content. If I've closed that chapter, that's obviously an open book that he still has to finish writing and close up.
Right. Yeah.
And when he's ready to do that, it's like, I'll always be there to help you close that book. But the book that I have towards you is that I've shut that, you know.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd want to say?
I think it's just like, I don't think there's anything I want to say. I think it's just like this curiosity that, you know, growing up, you always hear like, you look just like your dad, or there be certain mannerisms that I have when people are like, my mom be like, oh, that was just like your dad. You look just like your dad there. And it's like, it's just like curiosity of like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just want to see him just to be like,
how much of he and you are vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, cause like, I think about like me having kids, and like, I do this thing where like, you know, my friends realize, or my close people that are close to me realize, like, I'll eat all my fries before I eat my burger. Like little subtle details, little subtle details like that. And my mom will be like, that's just like your dad, you know? And it's like, I don't know my dad, so it's like that. I just got that.
That's just you.
I just got that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like I saw him do that. I just got that. So it's like, I think about that. I'm like, I would be curious to see like certain traits, the way I talk, or, you know, the way I tilt my head. Like, do I get that from you? Like, you know, there's that curiosity, but it's also a curiosity that like I can live without.
Well, when you said that you want to have kids at some point in your life, what lesson have you learned from your father that you would want to pass how do I want to word this? What lesson have you learned from this entire situation that you want to bestow onto your children?
Oh man.
Like, what has this taught you?
I think first of all, like I'm gonna be the most annoying dad in the world. I'm gonna love those kids so much. They're gonna be so sick of me. I'm gonna be there every dance class, every football practice, drop them off, pick them up. I'll damn near be waiting in the driveway by like while they're at school waiting. Like, I'm gonna be there. And that's one of the lessons I learned for myself. Is like, I'm gonna love those kids like no other, you know, because I never had that. I'm gonna be the exact opposite of that. But I think, like, I don't know, like, there's nothing, I think just through life, my kids is like, I just want them to know that they're loved and just support them and just know, like, I got their back. I think that's the one thing I want them to know, because like it's like the one person that should have my back, that like I share blood with, didn't have my back when I needed it. Like, the person that legitimately gave me life, I could never call upon when, you know, in those tough times where like I didn't have anything, when the lights weren't turning on, when, you know, I got stabbed outside McDonald's once, and it was like that one person that I couldn't call for help. And it's like, for my kids to be like, I want them to know, like, I will always be there. That's what I would tell you. I would, no matter what you want to do with your life, who you want to be, I will always support you. I will always be there for you.
You got stabbed outside of a McDonald's?
Yeah. That was sorry. Sorry.
No, don't
it's
be
one of those
sorry.
It's one of those streams of consciousness where I just start saying shit.
Yeah, no, you said it so subtly. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask what happened?
Yeah, I was like 22.
This was here in Toronto?
It was in Pickering.
Okay.
It was like by Pickering Mall, where like the McDonald's is right across the street on Highway 2 on Kingston. And yeah, I was at the Moxie's across the street, just like me, and I was some friends from university. We were all back in town. It was like January 3rd or something like that. And we went to the McDonald's afterwards because they didn't have any food, and we were like, okay, let's go to McDonald's grab food. And some guys came in, they were drunk. They started like, just like, you know, drunk yapping and making fun of my friends. And, you know, again, I'm somebody who, like, when I see something like that, I gotta stand up for my friends. And I remember saying to them, like, hey, you know, shut the fuck up, like, you know, get out of here, like, leave everybody alone, kind of deal, because no one was saying anything. I was like, I gotta say something, like, and they left, and I was like, okay, let's give it a few, like, 30 minutes, you know, make sure that they really left. I remember I walked out the door, and then I just got like clocked across my face. I'm getting jumped by like 3 people. My friends are getting like curb stomped, and they're getting their face stomped out. And then I remember like the security guard actually locked the door, so one of my friends couldn't get out, so they had to like go around the back. And I didn't realize it at the time, but he went around and he goes, Dom, like, you got stabbed. I'm like, what? And I just like, he said that, and then all of a sudden I could just feel could feel like warmth to go down my leg, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, And I remember I was on my knees, and then like the police started coming, and then I just like blacked out, and then I woke up on the McDonald's table. And this is like my friend Taylor Lewis, shout out Taylor Lewis. He said this was like the most Dom moment ever. It's like I'm passed on this table. I remember waking up and all of the McDonald's staffs freaking out, putting napkins on my back to stop the bleeding. And then he's like, you just woke up for a brief second, took a bite of your cheeseburger, and then passed right back out. And then I didn't wake up until I was in the ambulance. But yeah, it was just one of those surreal moments that like to this day it doesn't even feel real. But yeah, I got stabbed twice, like once in my back, once in my side. Didn't realize it, and then went to the hospital, got stitched up, and I was like, I gotta get to work. I was like, I have no more sick days. Like, if I miss it, I'm not getting paid. So
yeah, I
remember like, I was like, I gotta go to work. I remember I tried to like drive myself out, and I just couldn't. And then my mom was like, you're going home. And then like I remember like walking home with my ex and not being able to move, and I was like scared of like knives and shit for like a year or so.
Of course.
I was like, I couldn't even look at a fucking knife.
Yeah. Okay, so with everything that's going on now, what is it that's happening right now that you're most excited about? What's coming up, or what are you envisioning? What do you want to do that you're not doing yet?
That's tough. I think for me right now, I think I'm looking forward to, I want to do more like design stuff. Like I want to do more clothing, something more in the fashion world. I wanted to get into like more scripted stuff, more acting. But obviously with the strike going on, that's going to take a little bit of time. But this is something I thought about very recently, especially coming to Toronto, was like, there's a lot of people that, especially in Scarborough, a lot of my friends that didn't get the opportunity that I got. You know, there's like this weekend line, like from the Scar Town City, no love, from the town where a nigga never blew up. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, like people don't even know I'm from Scarborough. People don't even know I'm from Toronto. And I have so many friends that are doing things right now. And I was just hanging out with my friend, and I was like, yo, give me some of your clothes, man. Like, give me some of your clothes. He's like, what? Like, he's like, I wanted to ask you, but I was like, just give me your clothes, man. I'll wear it wherever I go. Like, I don't gotta wear a designer. I don't gotta wear this. Like, I'm gonna wear your clothes. And I'm just like, I think for me now, it's like I've gotten myself to a certain point where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't need a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, I lived on an air mattress for 6 months. Like, I got a bed, I got a shelter. Like, I don't need Gucci, Louis, Prada. I don't need all that. Like, I rock my Converse, my blank tees, my baggy jeans. I thrift everything. I'm good. Now I'm like, I've gotten to this point where like, now I can help my friends get to a point of comfort as well. I'm fortunate to have this platform where like, if I have a friend that has like working on a business, it's like, I don't think I'm like Brad Pitt or nothing, but I can help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could bring you to a point where like, hopefully it can bring you comfort, or hopefully having me help you can lead you to someone even bigger.
Yeah.
Kickstart something.
At least give you the peace of mind that you know that you got this. Like this is a real product, that this is good, that like people, you can see the value that I see in it.
Exactly. And I think, you know, some people, they get a little bit of clout or whatever, and then it's like they forget about like everybody and their homies that are doing stuff. And I got homies that like, one of my homies just opened up a gym. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to your gym. Like, I don't gotta go to this place. I'm gonna go to your gym. Like, use me as take a photo of me and tag me and say that Dom is here. Like, you know what I mean? Use me, and hopefully that'll kickstart something and put some drive. Like, I remember I was like in it, like my last week in LA. Like, this is fucked. These brand deals weren't hitting at the point where they're supposed to hit. They said I was gonna get paid a certain day. I had to like buy my ticket to come out here. Like, I have all this stuff I got to do. I had like $200 to my name at one point in my last week in LA. And my friends, they're in this band called Never Ending Fall. They were like, yo, come over, having this barbecue. We want to see you before you leave. And I was like, just so down on myself. I was like, fuck, I'll spend $25. I can't really afford to spend right now, but I need to be around people. I need something to uplift me. Yeah. And I just so happened to get in this Uber where there was this little kid just driving. He was like maybe like I don't know, like 21, 20. I don't know how old you have to be the Uber, but he was pretty fucking young to be driving this Uber. And I'm walking, and he like looks at me. He's like, yo, you're Dom, blah blah blah. And he just gives me like this crazy pep talk on the way. Like I'm driving from like mid-city, I don't know if you guys know LA, from like mid-city to Encino. So it's like a 45 minute drive with traffic or whatever. And this whole time he's like, you have no idea, like you on that show, you holding your integrity, you have no idea, like you be on that show made it more than just a reality show. You know what I'm saying? Like you changed the way, like seeing somebody like so honorable and make these decisions that no one else would make, do these things that no one else would be comfortable doing. Like you inspired me, blah, 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 to do this. And just seeing like someone like you who looks like you, like anime, and makes me think like, okay, maybe anime is like, I can express that. And like, he's hyping me up and I'm like, yo, like, thank you. Like I need to hear that. Like admittedly, like you let me know I'm on the right path. And at the end of it, he goes, man, it was so nice to meet you, so nice talking to you. He's like, this is so hard for me to say, but like, he's like, bro, I do animation. He's like, I want to show you some of my drawings. And he shows me some of his animation drawings. And he's like, I'm working on doing this like pilot. I want to do this like animated show or whatever. And I'm like, hey, yo, I'll make you a deal. Like I'm gonna follow you. Here's my number. You can message me whenever you got an update on something like that. I was like, if you complete this project, like I will give you my likeness to use like for you can just make me a character in your thing and I will blow it up. I'll put it everywhere I could put it. Like anything I could do to help you.
I can do to help, yeah.
Bro, when I tell you this kid every day has sent me a sketch on Instagram. He's like, yo, check out this sketch I just did. Yo, check out this. And it's like I'm like, yeah, like, yo, get on that shit. Like let's go. Like, and it's like he just needed that, like that kick.
Push,
He just needed that push of someone that like saw what he was doing, that believed in him. And now he's on his shit. Like I tell you, every day he's sending me something. I'm like, I'm so stoked for this kid now.
That's incredible.
Because he found amazing. Like that conversation, just me letting him know like, hey, if you accomplish this, I will help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you put in the work, I will help you take it to the other level. And yeah, man. And I think I saw that and I was like, I want to do that for everybody. Yeah. So I want to continue to obviously work on my own thing, but it's like whenever I can help light that fire for someone else, it's like that I'm going to always take the opportunity because there's no better feeling. Like that makes me feel so fucking good, bro. Like
that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Especially because not, like you said, not a lot of people, once they get a little bit of clout, a little bit of fame, a little bit of money, it's very much like, all right, what are you doing for me?
Yeah, exactly. It gets very transactional,
you
know, and I think people get really hungry. And like, I remember I said this one time. I was like, they definitely cut it out, but I was like on a podcast, and I was like, I looked at the camera, and I was just like, I make too much money to be doing what I do. I was like, we make too much money to do what we do. You know what I mean? And everyone got scared.
Why?
Because it's like nobody wants to like
admit it.
Nobody wants to admit it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody wants to admit it. It's like let's keep it a buck right now. This is my issue. This is why this is why the stream of costs is and you know I don't get like certain brand deals and shit. But like it's like when you look at like the lifestyle of like an influencer, it's like we're so grateful. Like I'm so grateful that I can take photos. I could take a 15-second video and get paid like fucking like 15K, 10K for like a 15-second video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When meanwhile it's like I look at, again, my mom worked at a women's shelter, like Sistering. This woman Diana who worked at Sistering. I look at her entire career is making sure that these women can make it to the next day. Teachers, you know, my ex's mom was a teacher. She was heavily underpaid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She cares about these kids. These kids spend more time with her than they do their own parents.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
It's crazy that teachers aren't paid so much more because they really shape everybody who's going to be
anything.
Yeah.
I remember after I finished filming the mole, my shows weren't even out yet. I went to my grade 5 teacher, the same teacher who like I remember when my dad didn't show up. The next day I went to school and she said, "Hey, like after school, she's like, don't worry about the work." Like I guess like maybe she had a conversation with my mom or something like that, or she saw me being really upset. She knew something happened.
Yeah.
And she was like, don't worry about the work. Don't worry about this. Take your time. You know what I mean? And she always made sure to check on me, make sure I was good. And I was like, I went back, I saw her, I was like, hey, Mrs. Amy, I just want to let you know, like, I wouldn't have gotten through grade 5 if it weren't for you. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have gotten through those moments if you didn't show me so much kindness. You know what I mean? Because I'm with you 8 hours of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like in those 8 hours when I felt so alone, like you made me feel like, you know what I mean? Everything was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, how am I making more money than what she does for kids every single year? You know what I mean? And like, that's like now every influencer is gonna be watching this like, yo, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? But it's like I don't need that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when people want to bargain for X amount of dollars, it's like I understand, know your worth, know your value, but at the same time, it's like if I can take the eyes that are on me and be able to be like, hey, yeah, I'm doing this stuff, I'm funny, I'm entertaining, I'm making these TikTok videos, but also check out this women's shelter right now, and if you could help anyway, like let's help these people out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's like I think it's finding that balance of helping other people that I want to do moving forward, and also building myself up so that more eyes can be on me, so that I can help more people, help people in these industries that like are. It's like it's insane to me, dude. Like going in a women's shelter or going to like a soup kitchen or like a homeless shelter even, and seeing these people that like it's like, dude, like my mom spent her entire like her young life helping these women, helping these homeless people like make it to the next day, making sure that they are all right, and we didn't have shit. You know what I mean? And it's like that you should be a millionaire. Like your heart is in the right place. You know what I'm saying? Like you should be all right. If anyone should be all right, it should be y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I think for me, it's like I don't need a lot. I obviously admittedly I don't give a shit. Like if I'm talking like this, so it's like if I can use whatever resources I can use to help just make, as cliche as it sounds, the world a better place. Like I'm gonna always make that sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, brother, you're definitely doing that.
Yeah.
You're using your platform in a way that not a lot of people do, because they're afraid that they're going to lose out on the brand deals. They're afraid that they're going to get criticized. But
people are so fucking scared, dude.
They are.
People are so scared because of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of
lose money.
Because you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
Or you're going to, somebody's going to disagree with you, or someone's going to view you differently. And it's like, you got to maintain this brand.
So what advice would you give them? What would you say to them? Because I love what you're about. I love the fact that you're taking your platform and you're like, hey, I got a little bit of success. Dope. But let me shine some light on some real things that matter.
Yeah.
And there's still a hunger to grow your brand and your businesses. None of that changes.
Yeah.
But as that grows, from what I can tell sitting over here, you're planning on doing more to support others. What would you say to people who are on the fence? They want to do that. They're afraid. They don't want to say anything. What would you say to them?
I would say, like, there's two sides. It's like, I get it. I understand. Like, there's two ways to go about it. It's like, especially when you came from nothing, or you don't want to hit rock bottom. And some people are scared. Like, I don't want to take those risks. I don't want to take that chance. I don't want to say this thing because I don't want to go back to what I had before. Where, like, for me, it's like, if I go back to sleeping on a couch, working in a warehouse, whatever. I did it. I managed. I figured it out. But if I can take these chances to make the world a better place, to make sure that someone else can eat, you know what I mean? To make sure someone else doesn't have to worry about, if like, what am I going to do once, like September, October comes around, or when it gets cold, what am I going to do then? Or what am I, like, people that have a bunch of kids and they're a teacher and they're working this job, and what am I going to do to support them? It's like, if I could do anything to help them, it's like, I know that I've done good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think you have to realize at a certain point, you have to look in the mirror and be like, okay, you're an influencer, you're a creator, but like, what have you influenced other than, you know what I mean? Other than a discount code in your bot. And it sounds like I'm taking shots at people, but it's like, it's just like, you really have to take a look at yourself and be like, what have you changed? Like, whose lives have you changed? Like, you're an influencer. You have all these eyes on you. Like, what impact have you made? Like, who is looking at you and being like, I am now in a better place. I am now a better person because of this person.
Yeah.
Because this person took time out of their day to make this change, or to say this thing, or to inspire me, or to motivate me, or to give back to me and what I want to be in life. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's all I would say. I was like, you just gotta look at yourself. And it's like, for me, it was like, I got lost in it. There were times when I was in LA and I would go to the club and people are screaming and there's signs, "Don't make out with me," and I could feel it getting to me. Like, I never want this to go away. I never want this to go away. But then you wake up in the morning, you read a DM from some mom saying like, hey, like, my son wanted to paint her nails. My son wanted to paint his nails, but he was scared because all the kids made fun of him. So I showed him your TikToks and check this out. And then, then he has like all his nails, or it's like, okay, that's more
real impact.
That's real impact. That is way more important than going to, Neon Carnival at Coachella. You know what I'm saying? That's more important than going to the red carpet. It's like, that is what's important. So I think it's like looking in the mirror, realizing what is truly important, and being like, if I wear nail polish, if I wear makeup, if I wear a dress, and I've legitimately like worn a dress and posted it and lost like 20,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? Good riddance. Good riddance. Because by me wearing that dress, somebody else saw that and was like, that gave me confidence to be who I want to be. Somebody who never thought, was scared to be themselves, saw that and was like, if he can do it, I can do it. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this follower shit, fuck the like shit, fuck the money, fuck that. That's what's important. That's what's gonna change the world. You know what I mean? Those little kids that now saw me, now believe in themselves, that's what's gonna change the world. That's my purpose. So I would say, like, look at yourself and be like, what is my purpose? How do I change the world? How do I have that impact? And don't be afraid to make that impact.
Wow.
Your dress is comfortable.
Honestly, I ain't gonna lie. I wore a skirt to this red carpet, and when I tell you, like, I sweat a lot.
Yeah, me too. I'm sweating right now.
That's what I'm saying. that breeze went crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. That breeze went crazy, man. But it's just like, it's, I look at somebody like Dennis Rodman. You know what I mean? And like, there has
been doing it for a long
time. And when people look at me, it's like, there's always a comparison of like, oh, you're like Dennis Rodman, or you're like Dennis Rodman meets Lenny Kravitz. It's like, and that tells me, like, also at the same time, it's like, there's not many people of color that have done that.
Yeah.
If I'm still getting compared to someone who was doing this in like the 80s and 90s, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
it made me realize, like, there has to be somebody, whether in whatever community, whatever niche, in podcasting, in fashion, in influence, and whatever it may be, there has to be somebody that's always going to go over that hill, take that chance, and you know what I mean, take those arrows and like take those like people hating, take those hate comments, to come back over them and be like, hey guys, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
We're good. We can go now. You know what I mean? And that's how, like, I view myself. It's like, I'm gonna be that person. I'm gonna go, like, whenever you think I can't take it any further or push those boundaries any further, I'm gonna continue to push that. It was like my first red carpet for Netflix is like, I'm gonna wear a skirt. I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna wear eyeliner. I'm gonna wear a skirt. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wear a crop top. I'm gonna wear a mesh top. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to Coachella. I'm gonna rock this. I'm always gonna push those boundaries because I know that there's a lot of eyes on me watching, and they're gonna say, he did that. He went over that hill. Hey guys, it's cool. Look at the comments. Everybody fuss with it. We all good now.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, all these kids are like, I could wear this. I could wear this. I could wear this color. I could paint my nails. I could be like Dom. I could do that. That there has to be that person that does that. Like Dennis Rodman did that for me. Watching Jeff Hardy made me realize I could paint my nails.
Oh, yeah. Seeing
somebody cool. I'm not saying like I'm cool, but it's like when I saw Jeff Hardy, it was like I saw this guy who didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He was like flying off of things,
ropes and ladders.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he got his nails. I'm like, this guy's badass, and he paints his nails.
Yeah.
I want to paint my nails. I want to be badass like him.
Yeah.
And that's what kickstarted me and drove me into the position where I'm at now, where I don't give a fuck about anything, in a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that I would like to think that I could be that for another kid at 10 years old that could look at me and be like, I want to do that. And now all the people that are bullying him, he's like, all right, and what? Do something about it. You know what I mean? Dom does it.
Yeah.
You can tell me Dom's not cool, like, and then they look at me as like, shit, he's pretty cool. Like, you got more of that nail polish. You know what I mean?
I'm not even gonna lie. I remember seeing you in TikTok years ago, not a couple of years ago. I think it was when you had a crop top on.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can see it. Like it's like. So when saying that, I'm like, it looks.
Sometimes
like,
you just gotta see it.
Like, yeah, it's just like, it looks cool, man. I'm like, it looks cool. Like I can see, and I'm like, okay. Like, one of the things, it's the same thing you're talking about. Like, it just opens your eyes to see things in a different way, especially when it's somebody you wouldn't. I guess at first glance, like, I expect them to be wearing a certain clothing, just like it's a regular person. It doesn't really matter. It really takes away the gender of clothing, and so when you see that, it's like, okay, like. Even when you see nail polish more now, and it's like see more people wearing, it's like, okay, and it's another form of expression.
Well, even Drake had his nails.
Yeah.
then I think he just posted a story or something like that, and then everybody started making a fuss about it.
Yeah, but it's like, and that's the thing. It's like it took years and years and years until people started like catching on. But people are gonna catch on.
It's such a stupid fuss too, because like, what does it mean you're gay? It's like, one, it doesn't matter if you're gay, but two, if you're not gay, then it doesn't matter what anybody else like if you're not gay and you have your nails painted and people are like, oh, they say you're gay. Like, if you're not, like, it doesn't matter what they think. It's
Yeah.
like, cool. You think that, cool. All right. In your world, doesn't matter, because if you're not, you're not.
Yeah.
Like, just because you say that, just because I'm looking at your nails, I think, oh, that's gay, doesn't mean that I'm gay. It just means that you think that I'm gay, and then who cares?
Yeah.
Well, that person's opinion just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And that's always the weirdest.
It's the weirdest.
It's the
thing.
weirdest
People get
thing
bent out
to
of
me.
shape out of that. It's just like, you want to do something because somebody else might think that you're something that you actually are not.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so who cares if that person might think that for whatever you're doing, not even nail polish, for like whatever you're doing, like being vulnerable or whatever it is, if that's not who you are, then it doesn't matter what that person thinks. Like, who cares if they think that? Doesn't mean that's what you are.
Yeah. It's the craziest thing to me.
insane.
And it's like when people, and I always look at it as like, it's just projection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's an insecurity, whether it's intimidation, it's like everybody wants to be themselves. Like, everybody, admittedly, it's like you have that thing in you where like you always wanted to do something, but you were never able to do
Why
that.
is he allowed to do whatever he wants, but I can't do whatever I want?
Exactly.
It's like, I was like, why can he dye his hair, but I have to wear a suit and tie to go to work? It's not, you know what? It's stupid.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, that's how you start thinking. Yeah.
Exactly. It's that's that projection. And a lot of the times it's like when you just look at a lot of the people that say it to me, I'm like, okay, like, all right, and what? Like it's so weird to me. Like, why do you, like, okay, I'm gay, right? Like I'm not gay, but like,
Yeah,
you call me gay. It's like, okay, I'm gay. Like, do you want to kiss or
like,
what? Like, what now? Like,
Yeah.
like if I am or I'm not, like, where do you go from here?
Yeah.
Why
does it matter
what
so
difference
much
does it
to you?
make?
Yeah.
What difference does
Let's
it
say
make?
let's say okay, yes, you're saying yes. Okay, I am. And what?
Yeah.
Or no, I'm not. Like, or it's like no, and it's like I don't have to. Either way, it's like I don't have to respond because I don't have to prove it to you anyway, because it doesn't even matter.
It's such a weird little subculture thing. Like there's like this big thing that people do where like they're like, yo, just come out already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just come out. Like we know it, like come out. You know what I mean? We know you're this, we know you're that. And it's like, why do you care so much?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird that you care so much.
Is it that they just want to be proven right, or just to be like, I knew it the whole time? Like, why do you care?
Why do you care? And to me, it's like, because I have my cousin is bisexual. Like, I have members of my family that are queer, and to me, it's like, by you doing that and like commenting that, this is why people are afraid to come out.
Yeah.
Because you've created this sort of like weird little witch hunt of like figuring out who's queer and who's this, and just come. It's like, you're the person that's making people feel uncomfortable. Like, that's a detriment to that community.
Yeah.
Like, shut up. Who cares?
And if you're not sleeping with you, then it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter who I'm sleeping with if it's not you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's what, it's crazy. People get so upset about what other people are doing in their own bedrooms that like houses away. It's like who cares what that person's doing in their own room, in the privacy of their room, or like anywhere. It's like, it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, it's so weird, and it pisses. That's the thing that pisses me off so much, because like, you are now, by you doing that, you are instilling fear in people that are gay, that are afraid to come out.
Yeah.
Because you've created this like imaginary witch hunt of like, we have to figure out who is gay. Like, no, like no one. My ideal world is like, when I have kids, if my kid is queer, they should never feel the need to come out to me. They could just show up with their partner and just be. They should, like, that's
same way as they show up with a partner of a different sex.
Yeah, of a different sex or same sex, whatever. They're just gonna show up to them and be like, hey, Dad, this is so and so, and I'm like, all right, cool. That's the home that I want to create. That's the world that I want to live in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people have this weird. It's so fucking weird to me, and I hate it, because like, I have friends that are gay, friends that are queer, friends that are trans. It's like, I've had a drag queen on my show, and she was talking about drag mothers, and people were like, oh no, like drag queens are pedophile, this, that. It's like, there is no statistics to truly back that up.
Yeah.
And by you putting it in the world, it's like you are now creating.
You're creating
this narrative that people are just going to run with, and that creates fear within that community to be themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm sorry, I'm getting so like.
No,
but
it
it's
makes
just
sense though, because like, we live in a world where like everything is so accessible, and it's like, if you don't like, same thing as you can go see anything you want. Like if I want to see a picture of this, I can go see a picture of that. But it's like if you don't want to see something, it's just as easy to just turn your phone over or like not look at it. So why does it have to be like not only can I not see it, I don't want anybody else in this whole world to ever see this. It's like just if you don't see it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
just leave it alone.
Why do you get to decide?
Yeah,
that for
like
other people?
if you don't want to see it, you don't like it, cool, done. Block that person, delete that person, delete that whatever that is that you don't like to see, then move on. In that world, it doesn't exist now.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to sit there and like, especially when it's people that go above and beyond? It's like I'm gonna
Keyboard
go call
warriors.
this person and message the MP or this and try to like. It's like that is so much extra time.
Yeah,
for something that has nothing to do with you.
You have so much time on your hands. Go do something good.
Exactly. Go do anything else.
Anything.
And I'll end this topic on this note. It's like I remember I had this conversation with this guy, and he was like, "Yo, but don't you think like having all this queer content, all this gay content is like, is gonna make our kids gay and with this?" And I'm like, if your son or your daughter ends up being gay, they were gonna be gay anyways. Like them seeing
has nothing to do with you.
Them seeing two women make out or two guys make out doesn't make they were gonna be gay anyways.
It's not gonna make them.
That's nothing to do with you. It's like if you have a problem with like all the queer content, all the black content, all this representation in media nowadays, there is ESPN 24/7 available to you. You know what I'm saying? You could watch anything you want 24/7. Like, you know what I mean? You're
Stream
not
stuff. Yeah, all the streaming servers. You can pick and choose.
You can pick and choose what you want to watch. It's fine. This has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Focus on yourself. Focus on your home. Focus on your work. Why are you so concerned about this community? And I said that to him. I'm like, think about it. Like, why are you sitting down here complaining to me about this community right now? Why are we talking about how you should be getting a bag?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we talking about how your broke ass should be getting a bag? but you want to talk to me about how you're scared because two guys kissing is gonna make your son gay someday. How about you worry about your son having a nice home?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the corniest thing to me, man. But yeah.
Man, I feel like we could have had a whole other episode just on this topic.
Yeah.
Right here. But Dom, listen, thank you so much for coming through, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
I respect all the stuff you're doing. I think you're making an impact, a real impact, and it's I'm gonna say refreshing because seeing you use your platform to actually spread positivity and good and helping others, it motivates me to want to go and do more. So like the next time you're doing something, you need a volunteer, you let me know, because I'm down to help out, because you're doing some great stuff and we're rooting for you. Keep doing you, and let's do this again sometime, man.
No, I would love to, man. And like I said, like I'm always here for anybody from the city doing their thing. And this platform is a place where, like, I've clearly, from the way I've spoken, I'm very comfortable here.
I hope so.
But yeah, and I think you're doing a great thing with this, and this is a great space, a safe space. You're having great, productive conversations. I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of platforms that wouldn't let me talk like this, like let me go crazy like this, you know. So yeah, I appreciate it, and I would love to come back on. And I also just want to like end this on a light, loving note. Like I get passionate and I get upset about stuff like that because I want to see people and I want to see the world
Positive change.
I want to see a positive change. Yeah. I want to see the world in a better place, in a better light. Like I don't want people to go through what I went through growing up with bullying or go through tough time. Like I want people to feel safe and feel comfortable in this world, and that's why I get so passionate about stuff like that. I just believe that everyone should lead with love, be vulnerable, speak with your heart, and just always show kindness, because you never know what the other person is going through.
Incredible. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yes,
Dom, thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody for listening. Dom Gabriel. Pleasure.